Bucharest financial district to have a conversation with artist Grimanesa Amoros about her latest installation, Breathless, Maiden.
If you could begin, Grimanesa, just to tell us a little bit about yourself and where your works come from.
I started working with light in early 2000, and it was all because I got very, very inspired when I saw an aurora borealis in Iceland many years ago, and I had a tremendous desire to be able to share that sensation that I felt at that time. It took me a couple of years to develop that, how I was going to be able to transmit that in a technological way and with different materials. In all my installations, the lighting sequence is actually very site-specific. I usually have to wait until the piece is done and then work the lighting for that piece.
Our viewers may notice people walking around in the background, and that's because we're in a public space. And so I'd like you to speak a little bit about the importance of site specificity to yourself, and also how the changing architecture of a space can impact the work.
Right at the beginning, when we started talking about making a piece, I started researching a lot of the history, and I found so many interesting theories. The fact that the streets are not, linear, like in Upper Manhattan, is because they were following the waterways of the canals of the water. So that to me also was interesting, how at that time they had a very specific reaction to nature and how they were building around it. All the buildings around, they are so rectangular. And so I thought that it was going to be a very interesting parallel between the organic way that the piece is installed and the architecture. It was sort of like a very nice balance.
I think you bring up a really interesting point, the organic nature of the installation process. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because with technology, I think often there is an assumption that the human kind of intuitive part may get lost, but that is certainly not the case here.
When you arrive to the space, you certainly encounter a lot of other, parallels that they might have not been, in a CAD, in a plan, or even when you came to observe the space. It's the actual moment when you're installing. Basically, in my case, I become one with the space.
You mentioned how this was a very vibrant neighborhood in New Amsterdam, but it is also a very much up-and-coming neighborhood. And at night, this work really illuminates a lot of the street. So I know you were thinking about the past, but were you also thinking about the present community that lives and works here?
When you come at night, how indeed it gets reflected, even to the, building across. So that is something that you cannot plan. It happens. I thought it was a very interesting point of focus for the future to come.
So thank you so much for spending some time. And I really encourage anyone who's watching this, if they're in New York in 2014, to come to 125 Maiden Lane, because it will be on view for a full year. And the work is very different if seen during the day and at night. And thank you so much, Grimanesa.
Thank you for the